Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to some big news regarding Sergio Perez's future. Yes, the Mexican has taken to social media this evening to announce that he will be leaving Racing Point at the end of this season. To a lot of people, it may not be massively surprising news because there's been a lot of rumours swirling around about his future. Talk, of course, that Sebastian Vettel is set to take his seat alongside Lance Stroll. However, I've got to be honest, I'm very surprised at the timing of this announcement. And there was still quite a huge chunk of me that didn't quite believe the rumours, that felt like Sebastian Vettel might hang on a bit longer or Sergio Perez might, I suppose, fight a little bit harder. I'm not saying he didn't fight for his seat. Of course he would have fought for his seat. But I thought this was something that was going to rumble on possibly towards the end of the season. I'll waffle a bit more shortly and speculate a little bit as well, but I'll start with his statement which said, "Everything in life always has a beginning and an end, and after 7 years together, my time with the team will come to an end after this season. It hurts as I bet on the team during very rough times. We managed to overcome obstacles and I am very proud of saving the jobs of several of my teammates. To the current administration led by Lawrence Stroll, I wish nothing but the best in the future. I don't have a plan B, my intention is to continue racing here, but that would depend on finding a project that motivates me to continue giving my 100% each lap. I hope I can give you some good news soon, but for now let's enjoy together the next races." So that's what Checo had to say on social media, and I've got to say some very interesting lines in that statement, specifically the fact that he's feeling hurt because he is the reason that team survived, or a massive reason why that team survived. And I think that's why in this whole situation I've always felt a little bit for Sergio Perez. As I've just said, if it wasn't for what Perez did a couple of summers ago, that team may well have gone under when they were Force India. He is a massive reason why that team is still there. Of course, Lawrence Stroll is, and that's why Lance Stroll has got a seat, and why it was always going to be Sergio Perez that made way if they were going to sign Vettel. But it does still feel massively harsh on Sergio Perez, and not just because he saved the team, but because he's a bloody quick and consistent driver. All the years he's been racing for that team, he has always extracted the maximum from that car, and when we've had crazy races, and not even just crazy races, but when he's had the opportunities, he's been the one in that team that's been able to get that car on the podium. I've said this a million times on this channel, but Sergio Perez for me is one of the most underrated drivers on the grid, and I will always argue that. However, you probably know exactly what is about to come out of my mouth because I say it so often as well, but at the end of the day, Formula 1 is a cruel and harsh sport. Now, of course, Racing Point is a Formula 1 team. However, first and foremost, they are a business and they are always going to do what they believe is best for the business. Is Sebastian Vettel, if that is the route they choose to go down, the right option? Is that the right decision for their future? Time will tell. We've got to admit it's very difficult to judge his performances this year because that Ferrari is so atrocious. But he's not had the best last couple of seasons as Seb, whereas Sergio Perez, by comparison, has been continuing to deliver that consistency I spoke about earlier. I did a video on this a few weeks ago and I said then that my dream lineup for Aston Martin next year would be Sebastian Vettel and Sergio Perez. That's nothing against Lance Stroll. I think he's surprised a lot of people this year with just how well he's been doing. But I think if you're looking for the strongest driver lineup, you go with Vettel and Perez. However, I don't have children, so I can't possibly understand, but I would imagine as a father, Lawrence Stroll wants to do the absolute best he can for his son. And any parents out there, I'm sure as well, will always want what's best for their children too. So if they had the opportunity to buy a Formula 1 team to give their son or their daughter a drive, pretty sure they absolutely would. So from a Lawrence Stroll perspective, I completely understand why he's chosen to get rid of Perez if he wants to bring Vettel in rather than Stroll. But from a sporting perspective, again, I would have gone Vettel and Perez. Of course, that's assuming they are going to sign Sebastian Vettel. I'll play devil's advocate and say that maybe that's all paper talk too. But I don't see any other driver available to take that seat that could even be discussed as potentially better than Sergio Perez. The thing is, though, from an Aston Martin point of view, what they need is experience. What they need as well is somebody that's hugely marketable. And Sebastian Vettel, as a four-time world champion, is that driver. Quick curveball, because it's Wednesday evening, and why not? Let's laugh for a second. Lewis Hamilton still hasn't signed a contract with Mercedes. Maybe that's what we're going to get announced this weekend. It's not going to happen. It will be Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll next year. Pretty confident on that one. The question now is, though, when do they make that announcement? Because here's the thing. This weekend is Ferrari's 1000th Grand Prix. If things are as bad behind the scenes as is being made out with Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari, announcing his next move will be one way to take the spotlight away from that team. But what I will say is I think this is probably more in preparation for an announcement on Vettel next week, because Sebastian Vettel, I've said this a million times, is a professional. Whatever's going on behind the scenes at Ferrari, he is still going to do the best job he possibly can in that terrible car, and he will always conduct himself in, again, a professional manner. So I think Sergio Perez announcing that tonight means that he gets to talk about that in the press conference tomorrow. There's also some media coverage for him over the weekend, and he can continue to talk to other teams, assuming he is talking to other teams. I'd imagine he is. It's Sergio Perez, for God's sake. And then either next week, Sebastian Vettel and Racing Point will make some kind of announcement ahead of Russia, or maybe an announcement will come before the race at the Nürburgring. That, of course, is pure speculation, as is what's about to come out of my mouth. I fully expect, and you can hold me to this if you want, and this is a complete guess, but just a gut feeling, I expect to hear news towards the end of the year that Sergio Perez has replaced Kimi Raikkonen at Alfa Romeo. That just feels like a logical step for Alfa Romeo. If a driver of Kimi's experience is going to leave, you want to bring that experience or some kind of experience back in. And out of all the available seats, because I don't think Red Bull are an option, it would be wicked to see Perez alongside Verstappen at Red Bull, but I don't think that's a possibility. So out of all the realistic available seats, despite their issues this year, Alfa Romeo are probably the best bet for Perez. But that is just pure speculation. We don't know anything more than the fact that Perez will be leaving Racing Point at the end of the year. But I'm going to leave this video here. I do love these breaking news reaction videos because I could just waffle for days, but I'm not going to put you through that. There was a video up earlier tonight on Pierre Gasly's future, so if you want to check that one out, I will link it on screen now. But in the meantime, don't forget that you can of course follow me over on social media, and all of the links you need for that are in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will catch you again in the next one. Bye bye.